So this is the lesson for 7-4, which are triangles. The one big thing that you need to know is that the three angles of a triangle, any triangle, no matter whether it's a skinny triangle, a fat triangle, a right triangle, a big triangle, a tiny triangle, no matter what triangle you're looking at, the three angles of a triangle always add up to 180 degrees. This is a slide that New York State requires me to show you. If we take a triangle and we tear off the three corners of the triangle, what it forms, those three corners, what it forms if we put those three corners together is this shape. It's a little bit hard to see if you tilt your head to the right a little bit. You'll notice that it is supplementary angles. All right. Remember that supplementary angles can be divided into two or three pieces. This one is divided into three pieces. Supplementary angles add up to 180 degrees, and so do the three angles of a triangle. It would be like taking this triangle that we have right here with angle 1, angle 2, and angle 3. It's a little bit hard for me to do on here, but if we take these angles and we match them up perfectly, all right, I'm going like this. All right. Again, we have the three angles of a triangle of supplementary angles right here. All right. And those form 180 degrees. So the big thing to keep in mind today is every single question, anytime that you see any type of triangle, the three angles of the triangle add up to 180 degrees. So there are two different types of problems today. Here's the first type. When given two angles, all right. So you're being given two angles here. You're being given the 40 and you're being given, now remember this little box, even though it doesn't have a degree measurement there, remember that that is a right angle. So this is 90 degrees. They try and trick you that way. So when given two angles, 40 and 90, 25 and 120, subtract them from 180 to find the third angle. So the first type of question that you're going to have today is you're going to be given two angles. You need to find the third missing angle. So all that you need to do is just take them, the three angles of a triangle add up to 180 degrees. So we're just going to take that 180 and subtract out the other two missing angles. So 180 minus your 40 minus your 90. It doesn't matter which one you subtract first. If you did 180 minus 90 minus 40, that's the same exact thing. And you get that this is 50 degrees. So always make sure that your answer makes sense. These three angles added together should equal 180. 40 plus 50 is 90, plus another 90 does give us 180. So in the second one, we have 25 and 120. We need to find the missing angle. All that you need to do is take 180, subtract out the other two angles that you have. So 180 minus 25 minus 120 gives you 35 degrees. So this angle is 35. You could set up an equation to do these. All right. You could add together 25 and 120 and then set up an equation and go x plus 145 equals 180. And then solve that equation for x and you get 35 again. But just taking your two angles and subtracting them from 180 is way easier. All right, so I'd suggest doing it that way. Go ahead and try this one on your own, please. You're given angles of 57 and 41. Find x. So again, all that you need to do is just take 180 and subtract out the other two angles that you're given. So 180 minus 41 minus 57, or you could do it the other way and do 180 minus 57 minus 41. No matter which way you do it, you should get an answer of 82. Remember, you should always make sure that your answer makes sense. You could add together 57 plus 41, which is 98. 98 plus 82 does give you 180. So half of your homework questions today look like that. You just have to take 180, subtract out the other two angles. The other half of your homework looks like this. Now, these ones are a little bit more complicated. These ones, notice they're not giving you any of the angles. You have to find all three missing angles. You need to set up an equation, solve for x, sub it back in to find each missing angle. When you go to set up your equations today, unlike yesterday with the parallel lines cut by a transversal, all of today's questions add up to 180 degrees. So you're going to add together your x's and your x's, your plane numbers and your plane numbers, watching the signs that are in front of those. Negative signs and minus signs, they look the same, they mean the same thing. Adding signs or plus signs and positive signs look the same and act the same way. So in this first one, we have 2x, 3x, and an x. Remember that anytime there's a letter all by itself, there's really a 1 in front of it. So that's really a 1x. We know that our equation adds up to 180. So I can put an equals 180 at the end right away. 1x plus 2x plus 3x gives me 6x. So that's my equation. I don't have any plus or minus anythings this time. So it's just a one-step equation. Divide by 6, divide by 6. You get x equals 30. Take that 30, just like we have with the parallel lines, just like we have with complementary, supplementary, and vertical angles. We need to take that x value and sub it back in. 2 times x, instead of 2 times x, we have 2 times 30, which is 60. Instead of 3 times x, we have 3 times 30, which is 90. Instead of 1 times x, we have 1 times 30, which is 30. So our three answers are 30, 60, and 90. Always make sure that your answer makes sense. 60 plus 30 is 90. 90 plus 90 does give us our 180, which is what we want. In the second example, there's really a 1 in front of the x, a 1 in front of the x, a 1 in front of the x. I know that my equation is going to equal 180 because the three angles of any triangle equal 180. 1x plus 1x plus 1x is 3x. Then we have a plus 30. There's nothing after this angle. There's nothing after this angle. So all we have is a plus 30. So I'm just going to bring that down. This is a two-step equation. Get rid of the plus 30 first by doing minus 30 and minus 30. So 3x equals 150. Divide by 3, divide by 3, and you get x equals 50. Take that 50 and sub it back in, sub it back in, sub it back in. 1 times 50 is 50, plus 30 is 80 for the top angle. 1 times 50 is 50. 1 times 50 is 50. Always make sure that your answer makes sense. 50 plus 50 is 100, plus 80 is 180. Go ahead and try this one on your own, please. Set up an equation, solve for x, sub it back in. There is really a 1 in front of this x. I know that my equation equals 180, so I'm going to put equals 180 right away. 1x plus 15x plus 3x gives me 19x. Then we just have a minus 10. So there's my equation, plus 10 and plus 10 to get the 19x all by itself. So 19x equals 190. Divide by 19, divide by 19, x equals 10. Take that 10, sub it back in, sub it back in, sub it back in. 1 times 10 is 10. 15 times 10 is 150. 3 times 10 is 30, minus 10 is 20. So we have answers of 20, 10, and 150. Always make sure your answer makes sense. 150 plus 20 is 170, plus 10 does give you 180. Now, these do get a little bit more complicated. All right, they get more complicated when you have pluses and minuses after your x. Remember, you want to add together all of your like terms. So we're going to set it equal to 180 again, because every triangle adds up to 180. Add together your x's, and your x's. So 1x plus 1x plus 2x gives you 4x. And now we're adding together a negative 10 and a positive 30. Negative 10 plus positive 30 is positive 20, or plus 20. So minus 20 minus 20. 4x equals 160. Divide by 4, divide by 4. We get x equals 40. Take that 40, sub it back in, sub it back in, sub it back in. 1 times 40 is 40. 2 times 40 is 80, minus 10 is 70. 1 times 40 is 40, plus 30 is 70. 70 plus 70 is 140, plus another 40 gives you 180. So again, we had to add together our x's with our x's. Our plus and minus are plain numbers. With our plus and minus are plain numbers there. Be very, very careful on a question like this. This is an extremely important example. There are questions like this on your homework. If you're not paying attention right now, you're going to be lost when it comes to this question. You're probably going to do it wrong. Now, notice in this question, they give you this angle of 40. Notice that there's no x there. That is the answer for that angle. All right, that is the answer for that angle. So when you go to sub back in, you can't sub anything back in because there's no x there. The answer for that angle is 40. So here's where you need to be careful, though. You need to be careful when you go to set up your equations. All right, we have a 2x and a 2x, or 2x and a 3x. That gives you 5x. Here's the tricky part. When you go to add together your 5 and your 10, that's 15. This angle counts as a plus 40. It's a positive 40-degree angle, so that counts as a plus 40 when you go to set up your equation. So we have 40 and 10 and 5. So in our equation, we're going to write plus 55. So you need to be very careful. Anytime that you're given an angle, that counts as a plus whatever your plain number is. All right, so be very, very careful there, because that does happen quite frequently. When you go to solve it, minus 55, minus 55. So 5x equals 125. Divide by 5, divide by 5. X equals 25. Take that 25, sub it back in, sub it back in. Remember, there's nothing to sub back in here. Our answer is 40 right there. That's what that angle measurement is. So 2 times 25 is 50, plus 5 is 55. 3 times 25 is 75, plus 10 is 85. Always make sure that your answer makes sense. 40 plus 55 is 95, plus 85 does give you 180. So again, be very careful. If they give you the angle, it has to go into your equation as a plus or minus whatever. It would be a plus though, because it's going to be positive. Go ahead and try these two on your own, please. These are the last two. Try these two on your own, please. Give you about 20 more seconds or so. So in this first one, you're given two angles. You need to find this third. So all that you need to do is 180 minus the two angles that you're given. So 180 minus 68 minus 80, you get that that top angle is 32. Again, you could set up an equation if you wanted to. X plus, you'd have to add these two together. X plus 148 equals 180, and then solve it from there if you wanted to do it that way. 2x plus 2x plus 1x is 5x. 16 plus 4 is 20. So we have 5x plus 20 equals 180. Minus 20 minus 20. So 5x equals 160. Divide by 5, divide by 5. 160 divided by 5 is 32. Take that 32, sub it back in, sub it back in, sub it back in. So when we go to sub it back in, 2 times 32 is 64. 2 times 32 is 64, plus 16 is 80. 1 times 32 is 32, plus 4 is 36. Always make sure that your answers make sense. 64 plus 36 plus 80 does give you 180.